name is Jedzia Johnson, reporting live from the Warren Area Career Center, here to bring you the most recent news. Our top story of tonight, an acorn hit the windshield of a Florida police cruiser, which caused the officers to fire into the back seat. After putting a suspect into the back of the police car, Officer Jesse Hernandez heard an acorn hit the windshield of his police car and mistook it for a gunshot. He then proceeded to fire his entire clip into the back of the squad car, which caused his partner to do the same. The suspect fortunately was unharmed, but Officer Hernandez was not found criminally liable. This has led people on X, formerly Twitter, to be outraged that the officer was not punished for endangering the life of the suspect in the back of his car. This has also made people wonder why often police officers are not punished for endangering someone's life or even outright killing somebody. In unrelated news, let's talk about video games. A lot has been happening in the gaming industry recently, and I wanted to put a spotlight on some of those games. Starting off with Overwatch 2, they're kicking off this season with a cult-like theme, as well as bringing back some of their Valentine's Day specials from last year and bringing in new ones for this year. Overwatch 2, being known for their terrible monetization, are selling bundles of skins in their shop for prices ranging in between $20 to $40. Of course, this has outraged their community, seeing that a simple skin can cost $20. Looking at Dead by Daylight, they announced their new chapter, Chapter 31, releasing a new killer and a new survivor. The killer, being the unknown, is supposed to be like a skinwalker kind of creature who wields an axe for some reason. His perks give him the ability to deter survivors from fixing generators and also give survivors hallucinations to scare them away. The new survivor, named Sable Ward, intends to make survivors go into places they wouldn't originally go to, like the basement. The community so far has seemed to really enjoy these changes and the interesting abilities these creatures' perks give them. Looking at Fortnite, does anyone remember that Fortnite Lego mode exists? Like, I never played that anymore. I played it like once, and then I haven't touched it since. Does anyone still play that? Does anyone still enjoy that? It felt very repetitive for me. But everything seems to be going good on Fortnite's end, considering they're getting a lot of popular songs into their festival mode, such as Green Day, Taylor Swift, etc. And finally, I wanted to give some light on some smaller creators, as well as talk about an ongoing situation with AAA gaming. So with the recent release from Ubisoft of a game called Skulls and Bones, people have been talking about the downgrading quality of AAA games. Within the past couple of years, many AAA industry companies have released very barren, boring, and unfinished games for prices of $70 to $80. This has begged the question, have these companies gone too far as to continually price games at unreasonable levels for unfinished or barren games? Some more recent examples of this is Skull and Bones by Ubisoft, which has been described as a very barren, pirate-like game that doesn't allow you to do what a lot of people think pirates should be able to do, as games have been released 10 years ago with the same kind of things like boarding. Another recent example is the most recent Suicide Squad game, which does have hours and hours of content, as these AAA games like to give their games, but at the same time, a lot of these hours of gameplay are just side quests and very tedious tasks that aren't quite fun. They're just there to lengthen the time of the game to try to justify such a price tag. But if you take a look at some of the popular games that have been made by smaller companies with smaller teams and less financial backing, you can see that they do a lot more for a lot less. Some decent examples are games like Power World, Lethal Company, and many, many more games like that are very popular in streaming communities, such as Twitch or on YouTube, but were made by extremely small companies. The games themselves do have less content, but still have hours worth of fun gameplay to experience, while having decent graphics as well, but are made by much smaller teams and have a much smaller price tag. Heck, when I started playing Lethal Company, it was on sale for $7, and the game is normally priced at $10. $10 for literally hours of content. If you know the game Phasmophobia, another example of a smaller game that got big because it's actually fun. It's very similar to that. And of course, games like Lethal Company isn't for everyone, but there's other kinds of games you can play that are really fun. And one that I quite enjoy is one called Inscription, which is kind of a card game, but also a horror game that has story to it. It's quite an enjoyable game, and it has hours and hours of gameplay to it. What a lot of people have been talking about recently is that these AAA games need to understand that they need to give games that are actually fun to play. They don't need to worry necessarily about the graphics or how many hours the game plays. They can dwindle down the number of hours that the game has as long as it's a fun game. Looking at aspects such as story, replayability will make games a bunch more fun and more worthy of a higher price tag. Those kinds of price tags to $70, $80 have also been argued that should be reserved for the best of the best games like upcoming GTA 6, which is debatable. Hello.
I'm sorry. Can we just peek in here for a second? We won't stay long.
Sure, yeah.
You can stay.
No, I'm trying. I was